Brittany Rizzo, and welcome to My Only Friends. I am so excited for today's episode. I sat down with my friend Aris Alvarado. This is the first time I got to talk with Aris about his time on Gilmore Girls in depth in the span of our friendship. I turned into the ultimate fangirl. Aris has the kindest heart, and we had a blast during this conversation. This episode reminds me of the one with the holiday armadillo. Aris talked about how he loved when people assembled together, which is what the friends do for Ross in this episode, dressing up as Superman and Santa Claus to help Ross teach his son Ben the history of Christmas and Hanukkah. I can't express enough how much fun I had during this episode, and I can't wait for you to hear it for yourself. Enjoy. Oh my gosh, can I just say, you look exactly the same. Literally, you do not age.
Yeah.
And like immediately when I heard your voice, I was like, oh, it's Aris. Because we've texted a couple of times in the since I've seen you last, but yeah. It's like, it's so different to hear your actual voice. It's so good to see you.
I'm always like, about my voice. I don't like my voice so much, but I mean,
really?
People tell me it's very distinct, you know.
Yes.
They can hear it on TV, and then I would look at it like, Aris yep. On TV.
Yep. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. How are you?
I'm good. Getting through COVID still, so it's a pain in the butt.
I know a lot of people are getting it again right now, and I've canceled a couple of things. I'm like, sorry, I'm not getting it before I go home.
It sucks because I can't really go out because my wife is immune compromised. So I haven't gone out and seen people in person unless it's work related.
Right.
That's the only time my wife's like, okay, you got to go. And then I got it in August.
Ugh.
And then she got it and she got really sick and she hasn't recovered from it yet. So last 2 weeks we've been going to the doctors a lot to figure out what's so.
I'm sorry.
So now it's even worse. It's like, don't get it again.
Right. Oh my gosh.
It affected her bad. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm immune compromised too, so I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So right off the bat, it's so funny because I was thinking of this. I got nervous to talk to you today, even though you're my friend and we've known each other. I'm nervous
to be on the show because I've listened to the show. So it's like, wow, it's really good. And I don't know what to say. I feel like I don't know what to say.
Oh my gosh, you listen?
But like anything, once I start doing it, I just get into it and it flows nicely. It's just the nerves before doing it. You know?
Right. That's so funny. I'm like, you listen? That's so nice to hear.
Oh yeah, of course. I like to support stuff that my friends do and stuff. It's cool because your podcast is fairly new, so I've been keeping up. There's a lot of other podcasts of friends of mine that have that I'm behind.
Yeah. So that makes me so happy.
Oh no, great! You're doing a great job. It's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, but it was interesting because I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't really think of you as Caesar from Gilmore Girls, in the sense of when I'm watching it, I'm not like, oh my God, there's Aris. I'm totally just no, that's Caesar. And this person lives on as Caesar. Caesar really exists. And it's the same with Lorelai and Lauren Graham. I don't look at Lauren Graham and go, that's Lorelai. Or when I'm watching, I had this conversation with David Deloise. He was like, these are real people, and the characters are not. But no, Starz Hollow 100% is so real to me and exists in its own realm for me. And I don't look at it and go, that's Lauren Graham playing Lorelai Gilmore, or that's Aris playing Caesar. I'm like, no, that's Caesar. That's Lorelai. That's Rory. That's Logan. I am so deeply enthralled in Starz Hollow whenever I watch it.
That's good because then that means we're doing our job. And Amy Sherman, did her job. It's I meet a lot of fans and they feel that way too. It's funny because I've been doing a lot of fan fests every year, and I've gotten to know a lot of fans. A lot of these fans have become friends of mine. We call them family now. They're fans and family. So those fans, they seen the difference, and they say the same thing you say too. It's when you're on the show, you're Caesar, but when you're here, you're Aris, and we love Aris or whatever,
I love that.
Caesar. So it's normal, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I watch a lot of TV too, so I think the same way also. When I work with other actors, I try not to get too fanned out, and be like, okay, it's just professional. This is a fellow worker and everything. So I try to keep my cool.
Yeah. If you don't mind, would you be willing to talk about, so with Gilmore Girls, were you supposed to just be on a couple episodes, or was it a small part that turned into like you are a big part of the show?
I'll tell you how I got it. So basically I went into audition for this other part along and I booked it. And it was a foreign exchange student. And it was on the episode where there's a hockey game. Mm-hmm. There's a hockey game. And Dosey has all these people come in, like his family's in town and they're staying at the inn. So I was playing a foreign exchange student that lived with his family. Mm-hmm. So in that episode, what happens is the family goes to the hockey game and Lorelai's on the phone and then they leave. And then I come down. She gets off the phone and I walk down the stairs and I say in Spanish, "Los doses, ¿dónde está? Where are the doses?" Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh man, I got to deal with this guy now. But they cut it. They cut my... She gets off the phone and you don't see me. So I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I got cut from the episode, you know? I called my agent and they were like, oh, I forgot to tell you they called. They're sorry that they cut you from the episode. They might use you again for something else. I'm like, okay, whatever. That's Hollywood, you know. Hey, we'll call you later for something. But they did call me later. It was like 2 or 3 months later. They called me and I was in Vegas at the time. And my agent called me and he's like, hey, Gilmore Girls wants to see you tomorrow for a fitting. And I'm like, I'm in Vegas? He goes, what? You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me. And this is the beginning of my career, so I didn't know that I had to tell my agent every time I went out of town, stuff like that, booking out. And I was like, oh. He goes, okay, let me see what I can do. So he calls me back. He goes, they already have your sizes from the last time you were on the show, so they don't need you for the fitting. Just get back by tomorrow because you're shooting the day after. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I got back home and I was looking for a script because normally they give you a script the night before and I didn't get one. So I called the PA or the AD and I'm like, hey, I didn't get a script. He goes, well, let me see what it has to say, you know? And he read it and he goes, your line is no ham, no ham, no ham. And I was like, all right, got it. That was it. And it was like, so they just gave me Caesar.
Wow. Aris, that is, my jaw is like, what? I have full body goosebumps because that is so amazing and like such a testament to like, one, they probably loved you when they met you. So they were like, we want him to come back. And two, like, what is for you will not miss you because all the stars aligned perfectly. Like they already had your sizing. They already knew who you were. Your line was no ham, no ham, no ham. So it was literally just like all gelled perfectly for you to just go there and show up and be yourself. Like that makes me so happy.
That's true. Cause when I auditioned for the other part, it sucked because I had no car at the time. My car broke down. I had to borrow my uncle's van to go to the audition and come back. And I made him laugh and it was like the line was "Los doses, ¿dónde están?" And they were cracking up in the audition room. And I was like, all right, whatever. And then I'm driving home. And on the drive home is when my agent called me and I booked it. Because when you book it right away. They'll tell you right away. Right. Most of the time or some of the time. But like I said, I had no car. Then I'm doing Caesar again. And I'm taking the bus to from USC area. I was living at the time all the way to Warner Brothers. So I took like 2 or 3 buses to get to work that day. Oh my. And it's cool because I'm from New York. So it's like, oh, I can take the bus, whatever, you know. But it was cool because I was like, all right, this is my first speaking role on TV and I'm taking the bus. I'm like, it's like being in New York. But,
oh my God. I love that. I love that so much. It's inspiring and it's also just so fun to hear. And it also I don't know if you because I know you, I'm going to try to not to cry happy tears, but I just am the type of person when I get to talk about things I love with people I love, it just makes me so happy. I'm so giddy right now over this story.
That's great. I feel the same way too. I like to hear other people's stories that how they book stuff. And I was talking to a friend of mine. I was at an audition the other day and I saw him outside. He's the guy that he was the waiter on Gilmore Girls, Robert Lee. He's the Asian guy that's always in Luke's Diner. So he was there and I was talking to him and he's an actor too, but at the time on Gilmore Girls, he was a regular extra on a regular background player in Luke's. And he got a line later on in the episodes too. So that was cool. But I talked to him and he was telling me that he just did Grey's Anatomy and he's doing another show where he plays the dad. He's been playing the dad recurring on his other shows. So I was happy for him. So I'm like, I was so happy for him. So I know how you feel. You know, I when my friends succeed.
Yeah. And so this was your first on-screen speaking role?
Yeah. I mean, I did this was my first. I mean, before that I did probably a short film in LA, but yeah, this was my first TV or a major, it was my first speaking role. Yeah.
And then how many episodes were you like signed on to do? Were you supposed to just do that one and then it became
it was possible recurring when my agent told me, hey, they want you for this part, it's possible recurring. Mm-hmm. But once I'm in the diner, I was like, all right, cool. I might come back. And they just kept writing me in. They never told me when I was going to work because they don't know either.
Right.
It's as they write episodes, and little by little they keep giving me more to say. And I had like maybe two others. There was two scenes that I love. Is like one with Lorelai, and she's looking for Luke, and I have a lot to say to her, and I'm eating pie and dancing.
Yeah.
And another one was when Luke was going out of town, and I'm like nervous that he's leaving. So it's like I had a lot to say, a big scene with everyone. So that was cool. But most of the time it was like quick lines, here, here's the eggs and bacon or something,
Right. But it's, it's kind of like Gunther on Friends. Like, he was only supposed to, he was just an extra. And now it's like one of those, you can't imagine the show without him. Like you literally can't imagine the show without him. And that's how it is with Gilmore Girls with you. It's like, you can't imagine Gilmore Girls without you. Like you just fit so perfectly into that world. And there was like a thing going around TikTok of the pilot that didn't air with like somebody else as Suki and somebody else as Dean. And it's just so interesting how they did on that show switch people around. And when a show like that, when it's so, I mean, look, Gilmore Girls for me is like Friends, Gilmore Girls, literally, which is huge, And so like, I think I've watched Gilmore Girls even just since the pandemic. I watched Gilmore Girls all the way through probably 6 times. And that's, the pandemic alone in 2020, I watched it 3 times. Like it would stop and I'd go back to season 1, episode 1. And I don't even know what I was trying to say in the beginning, but I just have to say, like, it's gotta feel so amazing that you're a part of a show that is literally timeless and that so many people do this.
Yeah, it is amazing. I feel very privileged to be part of that show. I love that show because because of that show, it's like that lifted off my career in the early 2000s. I worked a lot, so that was like my first stepping stone and stuff. And it's funny when they did the revival, when we did the Netflix show, it was like I wasn't working that much. Then I did that and I started working again a lot after that.
Right.
And I was telling Daniel Palladino when I was shooting, I was like, man, you guys are like a good look there because, I'm on set with you guys and I booked 3 other jobs,
Right. Right.
I feel privileged to be part of that show. I love that. I hope we do more,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like timeless. It's timeless.
It is. And it's one of those things where it's like every fall comes around, I have to turn on Gilmore Girls, whether I'm paying attention to it or not. Just to have it on in the background is so comforting. And I always get really into it right when Lorelai and Luke get together. And then it's like Dean and Rory. And then, I want to know. I'm Team Logan. Do people ask you what team you're on?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'm Team Jess because I did my first thing with Jess. I did my first. I was like,
okay, so you're biased, but I think if you would have said Dean, I would have been okay. But a lot of people don't like Dean and Rory, but I'm like, he was a great first boyfriend. But Jess, I never understand the team Jesses. I never understand it because I'm so Team Logan.
Challenged her. He like gave her the chance. I mean, it's for those relationships that she had is like, she was growing, in each of those. And Logan, there's a whole other, more experiences that to see the world and then just to get to all these experiences and even be better than with Jess.
Right. Right. On set, what was like one of your favorite moments, either behind the scenes or an actual scene that you have from Gilmore Girls?
Oh, it was the definitely Bon Voyage, the last episode we didn't know it was going to be our last episode, or at least most of us did. But it was great because we were all under the tent and we're, saying goodbye to Rory. We threw this big party. And for me, it was great because I got to see a lot of the actors that I never got to work with. Or sometimes when I was there and working with them together and just being in that whole, like the whole town is there. I love when there's like everybody gathers together, and later on when we talk about, Avengers or whatever, but I love when like everybody, like groups of people everybody assembles, everybody's there for Rory. I love that. Everybody brings their own superpowers there.
Yeah, I love that. And that episode makes me cry so hard. Oh my gosh. Any finale. I mean, I wouldn't even have to watch the show. And if a finale is on, I'm crying because I am having that thought of like, all these people work together for so long and it's the end of an era. And it's just like, oh my gosh, they're not going to see each other on a day-to-day basis. I think about the crew. I think about everybody on there. And so it really was like that last episode. And every time it's raining outside now, like it reminds me of that. And it's like, it's just so, I just love it so much. And the acting on Gilmore Girls too, the performances are just, I mean, Lauren Graham she's obviously somebody I look up to so much because she's funny, she's witty, she's vulnerable, she's so smart in her choices. And even if I'm not watching Gilmore Girls for the storyline purposes, I'm studying the entire time. It's like she carries an entire show, and those women and Luke and you, it's like everybody just worked collaboratively from a viewer's perspective. And can you say that that's the same experience you had?
Yeah. And especially since we had so much, well, they had a lot to say, you know, because our scripts were longer than any usual 1 hour script. Mm-hmm. And they had a lot to say, and they had to say it very fast, and they had to say word perfect. They had to be word perfect. So, I mean, she's incredible because she carried the whole show, you know?
Yeah. What would you say is like, I know the industry has changed so much since, you know, the beginning of Gilmore Girls to now. And you have been a working actor for, gosh, how long now?
I'll say 20 years. Wow.
Yeah. And that is congratulations, because, you know, this industry sends a lot of people packing their bags after 5. Maybe not even.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's been ups and downs with me personally.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but you know, what would you say is the biggest thing that has changed in a good way, and one thing that's changed that you're not a fan of?
Ooh, for me personally, or just the business in general?
You personally. So is there like, in the span of your 20 years out here, and you've seen the industry change so much, what's one change that you really like seeing in your experience, and one change that it's just, you feel like it's hindering the industry or the experience of auditioning? Or like, I know a lot of people hate self-tapes, where I love them, or a lot of people hate social media and how you have to be so active on social media. Like, what was it like before auditioning? Because I always fantasize of auditioning in the 90s and early 2000s. I always think it was probably so much more fun. And I don't know because I just love that time so much. I just feel like there is something about going to an audition and being in the room and seeing everybody else and being like, oh, you and I keep auditioning for the same parts. And then you become friends. And then it's like, you know, you have people like Ethan Hawke and Edward Norton in the same room, and they reminisce about it 10 years later. They're like, oh yeah, we went out for the same part. We're like, we don't even know who we're auditioning with anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one thing that's gotten better is the diversity, definitely.
Right.
There's been more roles for people of color and people of all shapes and sizes.
Yes.
And, you know, gender and everything. It's just seeing more. The difference on TV nowadays is amazing. And I mean, for me personally, I don't know if I've seen it change that much for me personally, because I feel like I worked more when I was younger before. That even though I look the same, it's just it's changed a lot. And I don't know. I just keep chugging along and seeing what happens, you know, but yeah, definitely just diversity in TV and film now.
Right. Yeah, I do love that, you know, especially for women, you know, even I look, Friends is my holy grail, but even when I watch that show, I'm like, well, I could have never been on here because I'm not 95 pounds. Like, they're so tiny and skinny. And it's like that era of the 90s where every woman on screen, you can see their rib cage. And I mean, even on Gilmore Girls, the running joke is like that they eat so much. And I'm like, do you? Because you guys are so tiny. Like, you're not pounding down 20 pizzas and hot dogs and hamburgers and French fries all day long. Like, their characters, I'm like, you guys are so tiny. So I think, yeah, as I've gotten older and like more womanly, and I see that reflected on screen, it's like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to look a certain way to get the part. Like, it's not about my physical appearance, you know?
Yeah, definitely, yes.
Gosh, I feel like I don't want to like blow up your spot with nothing but Gilmore Girls questions, because there's so much.
Well, that's fine. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Are you still, like, I know you do the fan fests every year. Who are you closest to on the cast in real life?
Oh wow. Now that the fan fest, well, the fan fest was awesome because I really got to know people, you know, better that we didn't work together. Like, Nick Holmes, who played Robert, is an amazing person. Shelley Cole, who played Madeline, also is an amazing person. I mean, they're so nice. They're so nice. At the fan fest, like a lot of us that come back are the ones that are like really friendly with the fans and have gotten really close. So I got close with them. Oh, Liz Torres too. Liz Torres. Miss Patty.
Oh my gosh.
She's like an aunt to me, like an auntie.
Oh, that's so sweet.
We always end up speaking Spanish and stuff whenever we see each other. And she's like, she always, we get like inside jokes with each other. So we start talking in Spanish.
Now, I think you got on Gilmore Girls when Friends was over already, probably.
I think, what year the Friends in?
I want to say 2004.
Well, no, then I was, well, it's funny because I was on set one day. I was on the Warner Brothers lot. And, because Lauren Graham and Matt, I see that you met Matthew Perry the other day.
I know.
Pretty cool. Good for you. It's awesome.
Thank you. Big accomplishment.
It reminded me of this, I was on the Warner Brothers lot one night. We were shooting and it was nighttime, and in between the stages, because Lauren Graham and Matt Perry are friends, Matthew Perry, I saw them talking to each other, and I think at that time he was already doing that Studio 66 or something. They did some show on NBC about a studio on Sunset Strip or something like that.
I think it was called like Go On or something. There was like a sitcom.
No, that's another one.
Was she on?
No. She was. We were doing Gilmore Girls.
Oh yeah.
They saw each other. They were talking to each other in between the stages because, in between shoots or whatever.
Do you understand? My head would explode if I saw Chandler Bing and Lorelai Gilmore having a conversation.
I was like, this is so cool. I was like, oh, we're talking to each other. What's going on? And then later I found out that they're really good friends. It's like, oh, cool.
Literally, I don't think I would be able to I would literally think I was in an alternate universe if I saw that happen in real life. And it's so funny because for a while I was trying to get a job on the Warner Brothers lot because just being there makes me so happy. And my ultimate dream is I can't wait for the day I book a job and I'm on set and I have a break and I go to Central Park and have a cup of coffee. That is my dream. Even if I have one line of saying hello to somebody, if I could accomplish that, life made. It's so amazing to me. So you're from New York.
Yeah.
And what brought you to LA? Were you acting in New York and then decided to make the switch to LA?
Yeah, basically, yes. It's funny because when my dad used to live in LA when I was a kid, and as a kid, I wanted to move out here to live with my dad. My mom wouldn't let me, because I was like, I want to be an actor in LA. So I visited LA a lot, but I never got to do any acting here. But in New York, I was doing acting. I went to NYU. It's funny because after NYU, I was like, oh, I'm a New York actor. I don't want to go to LA, And then a friend of mine had moved out here and he started doing background work and he was on Freaks and Geeks. And I was watching the show and he's like, dude, man, you got to come out here and get your SAG card and do background work. And that's the way you'll get in. And I was like, and I think it was September we talked and then I decided then, I was like, oh, that's it. I'm moving out there. So in February, the following year, I moved out to LA, and that's what I did. I did background work when I got out here to get my SAG card, and I got lucky because I ended up being like a regular student at this show called Boston Public.
I remember that show. Yeah.
So I was like one of the regular students and I practically worked every day. So I went to high school all over again. And I did that show for 4 years. I definitely did that show 4 years. I graduated on that show again.
Did you? That's so funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they featured me a lot in a lot of the shots. So it was cool. And so they by the second year on that show, I got my SAG, my 3 vouchers to join because the PA liked me, and I told her, "Hey, I'm going back to New York, and can I, before the season end, I was like, can I get my 3rd voucher?" They're like, "Sure." So I went back to New York and worked again, and for the whole summer, and came back because I needed money to join SAG. I wasn't making enough money doing background work here, so I went back to New York and worked again, and came back and joined SAG and. Lucky enough to go back on the show as a SAG union background player on that show for another 3 years. So
yeah,
cool.
Make that money. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's so I moved out here because I was like, oh, my friend convinced me. I was like, okay, I'll go out there. I'll go out to LA and then never look back. The weather out here spoils me. So
I know
it took about 5 years I was back in New York in the subway outside. It was snowing. And I was like, I can't wait to get back home. It was 5 years after I moved out that I was like, okay, I'm from LA now.
Right.
But,
and then you got
New York,
Gilmore Girls. I always say, like, I always thought New York looked super cool, but only because on TV it's actually Burbank. And I'm like, you know, like you have Gilmore Girls and Friends, which is all I watch, and they're set in, you know, the East Coast. And I'm like, yeah, but it's actually really Burbank. So I don't need to go to the East Coast. And it's actually only 60 degrees and not 25. Yeah. So this is kind of where I'm planted for life, because it's like you said, it's my type of weather. Like, you can't beat the weather here.
I'm spoiled out here. It's
like crazy. We don't have to shovel our cars out. Oh. We don't have tornadoes. Like,
yeah, no shoveling snow. Nope, not anymore.
So is it true? I can't say it's my last, but I remember taking the studio tour at Warner Brothers, and they had said they had to take apart Luke's diner after every. Like, one of the tour guides said that they would take it apart because they were sharing that space with another show. So they'd have to take it apart and put it back up every single time.
Well, I mean, that's happens in every studio. They would do that. I mean, I believe it. I don't know, but I believe it, because whoever's renting the space is going to use it, and they're going to change it. And they'll change it back.
So much work. Like, I imagine Central Perk is just like living for, you know, that's just Central Perk and like Monica's apartment and this. And I'm sure with like the houses and stuff, but I guess in that little town square, yeah, you've got a lot of different shows using the space. But
do you watch You? Do you watch You on Netflix?
Yes, terrifies me, but I love it.
They used Luke for the bakery shop.
Oh my gosh. That is so.
That's Luke's diner.
Oh my gosh.
What else they shot there? They shot, what was that girl? Pretty Little Liars or something like that?
Yes. Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, I mean, studios, they're always changing stuff. You know, that's the Carpenters. They're geniuses. These guys are amazing.
Incredible. Did you steal anything from Luke's? Like, after the first run, were you like, I want a piece of the set?
No, not really. I mean, the only thing I took was for you.
Yeah.
That cup. That's the only time I ever did. And I didn't even steal it. I asked the prop guy, and he was like, okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
That's the only. It's funny because I get that question. They ask me that all the time at the Fan Fest. Yeah. And I always to you. I say I got a cup for my friend.
I love that so much. I love that. I'm actually
Rory is actually used in the scene. Rory had it in the scene.
Yes, I'm actually gonna do I'm gonna try to put a website together for this, and I'm gonna use that cup for the photo shoot. And I'm really excited. I'm so excited. Yeah, that was. Oh gosh, I just love little, like, I have a lot of little memorabilia around my house of like Friends and this and that, and like a Gilmore Girls ornament and Luke's coffee coasters. Like, I just love feeling connected to those things. They just make me so happy.
And I love that cup is so cool because like you can see it in the scene. Like if you watch, it was a revival, yeah. And that's the one that I give her. It is, you know. So it's like it's cool. Every time I see it. Well, that's the cup I got.
That's so funny. So what was like the first time that you were watching a TV show or movie and you were like, this is what I want to do. I want to be an actor.
Oh, well, as a kid, I still watch a lot of TV and all the time. But as a kid, I watched TV. I mean, sit down in front of the TV and watch it. And I just wanted to be in all those shows. I wanted to be in Gilligan's Island or in the Brady Bunch. And I'm like, how do I do that? How do I get to be there? And then it was like, oh, acting. So I could be all these different things. I could be a doctor. I could be in the army. I could do all this. So as a kid, I always wanted to do it. Although I'm very shy. You probably don't believe it, but once I start talking with people, once I know people, I'm not as shy anymore. But as a kid, it's like, I want to be in there. I want to, like I said, I want to be in Gilligan's Island. I want to be in Bewitched. All these shows, I wanted to be part of it. Or in sporting movies with kids in it, I wanted to be there. You know? That's why as a kid, I wanted to be like an actor too, but I didn't get to do it until later on in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And when's the first time you saw yourself in a character?
I mean, I can't say a particular thing, but it was like anytime I saw like a fat kid on a show, on a movie, like a sports movie, like The Sandlot or Mighty Ducks. You know, you see that fat kid. I'm like, oh my God, there's a fat kid in this. Say, oh, I could do this too, definitely. You know, and or chunk on Goonies. You know, I love kids movies. I love kids sports movies.
Yeah,
like I said, as a kid, I wanted to be in those movies. I was like, why can I be that hockey movie or that baseball movie?
Right.
So when I see like another fat kid, I was like, or chubby kid, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to say anything derogatory, but you know, a overweight person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made me go, yeah, I could do it too. You know,
right?
Definitely do it if these guys are getting hired.
Right. Right. And I could totally see you in like a movie like The Mighty Ducks or like The Sandlot. Like you have that personality that is so endearing and sweet. And like you have such a magnetic energy about you that is still like you have this childlike sense about you too, where you're just happy. Like you're a happy person. And so I could totally see you in one of those movies. I think that is pretty on brand, and it makes sense. Which leads us to, you chose the Avengers for the movie. I love superhero movies and TV shows because as a kid, I've been waiting for these movies and TV shows ever since I was a little kid, hanging out with my friends and looking at comic books and playing these card games with superheroes on it. Be like, one day there's going to be a movie with Spider-Man or somebody in it. And then now this day has come and we have some good movies that have superheroes in it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because I was just talking with my last guest about how like I was late to the party with Modern Family, and I was very late to the party with Marvel. And I watched I had seen some of the Iron Mans. I had seen the Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire era Spider-Man, but I never watched when it started. I feel like it started getting really big out of nowhere almost. Like these movies had come out, but then all of a sudden when all the Avengers movies started coming out, it was like, whoosh, it blew up. And like, I've never seen like the first Captain America. I had never seen any of the Avengers except Endgame. So I watched them really out of order. And I used to be like, I'm not going to watch a superhero movie. And then like, it just didn't seem appealing to me for some odd reason. But then I know. And what's interesting is I feel like the Marvel universe doesn't love Captain Marvel, and like a lot of people didn't like it, but that was the movie that got me into all the other Marvel movies. And I think maybe it was because that she conveyed like, you know, female empowerment, and it was also set in the 90s, like when it first started out. And so I was like, this is right up my alley. And then after that, I was like, my girlfriend at the time was like, well, you have to watch, you know, Endgame is coming out. And I was like, okay, I will go see Endgame. And so I forget which one I watched after that, but then I watched, which one?
Because Infinity Stone is before Endgame. It's like part one of Endgame.
Oh no, I really went all over the place. I think I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp after that.
That's in there. Okay. Depending what part. Yeah. Because
the time continuum. Yeah. So it was kind of like, that was like a really important one to watch for everything else to make sense when Scott Lang comes back. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't confused. So I saw Endgame in theaters and I was on the edge of my seat and I was so vocal, and like my friend was just laughing at me. And then of course, every time Chris Evans came on screen, I was like, he is Lord. But but what's so funny is, I've talked about it on here before, is I became obsessed with Sebastian Stan in the last year. And I was like, well, I have to watch everything he's ever been in. And that got me to watch Captain America, and then Winter Soldier, and then Civil War. And then like I watched everything literally he's ever been in the Marvel universe. And Endgame is now, or any Avengers movie, if it's on TV, I end up sitting down and watching it. I'm obsessed. I get so into it. And it does make sense how you say Bon Voyage was your favorite memory of Gilmore Girls, because it is that moment when they're all coming together. Oh, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the video where people are like screaming in the movie theater, like hollering every time someone new comes on the screen. And it just makes me so emotional, but it makes me so happy. And then just to see them all fighting together, for the greater good. It's just, I do. I really got into it.
That's great. I'm happy you did.
So what is it for you that makes that your go-to?
I mean, I picked that one because that was the latest one, and that was the one where they like all got assembled, and there was time traveling in it too. I love time traveling movies, like Back to the Future, or like I love anything with time travel. I love so that they combine superheroes with time traveling. And I was like, this is awesome. And they got in Endgame, they got to go back and like go back into the other movies that they last and time travel. And even further than that, you got to see a lot of things that might affect different things. And, and that's where Loki ventures off into somewhere else too. I love the time traveling in it. I love like I said before, all the people getting together and just... Like I said, not necessarily Endgame is all of those superhero movies. Like even DC stuff is like even bad. Sometimes they have to be really bad for me not to like it, or I'll at least watch it once. But I love Captain Marvel. I love that movie. It was good. It's part of the thing. Some people get mad or say, "Oh, it's not according to the comic books." Like certain movies, I'm like, "Well, this is a different interpretation of these characters." In the movie. I used to feel like that sometimes, be like, oh, Spider-Man shouldn't be like that. That's not the way he is in the comics. But I'm like, wait, this is an interpretation. Now I don't feel that way anymore. I'm like, all right, let me see what this person, how they're going to tell the story. Yeah. So I love superhero movies. It's my go-to whenever I'm a big kid. Like you said before, like I feel like I'm a big kid. I never grown up. I'm Peter Pan syndrome. I don't have kids, so I'm still a big kid. So I treat myself like a kid.
Same. Same. I literally had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for dinner. And I live in my friend's apartment by myself with my Elmo doll in my bed. Like I am still very much a big kid, and I don't have kids and I don't plan on having kids. And so I'm like, but I like being a big kid. It makes my life more fun.
Yeah. It's fun. It is fun.
And we get to play pretend for a living. Like it's pretty cool. So with time travel, it makes me think, what's one time that you would travel back to if you could?
Anytime.
Anything, whether it be in your life or if you just wish you could experience, like, I don't know. I
love the 1950s.
Yeah.
Rock and roll music. I love that music, that time, the rebellion and all that. I mean, I would probably be cleaning a bathroom or something, but
no.
I love that time, It's like I love the 1950s. Well, that's the thing I love about the diversity is that now we see all these movies, time period movies. And yes, there were African-American people in it. Yes, there were Latino and LatinX people in that time. These people existed. It's not like, all of a sudden there's a black guy in England in the 1700s. Yes, there were. Now we're just knowing these stories and, that's the thing I love about the diversity is going on now.
Right. With the Avengers, which Avenger would you want to play?
Ooh, which Avenger? That already they played or it hasn't been played yet?
Any.
Ooh. Well, the thing with the Avengers is there have been other characters in the Marvel Universe that have been Avengers. But I mean, I most relate to, not that I would play him, but I most relate to like Captain America in a way, because he doesn't give up and he fights for what's right.
Yeah.
And
you've got a heart of gold. I totally see that.
Yeah. He's like,
I see that.
I got to do the right thing, and he fights for what's right, no matter what, even when it could hurt him,
Yeah. I got to say, though, I loved the Captain America movies. I really did. In Endgame, I got so mad because I was like, hold on a second. After all that Bucky and Steve Rogers have been through, he didn't give him a hug goodbye. He didn't sit down with him on that bench and say, like, I love you, man. Thank you for everything. He just like gave him a nod and like look. And then then Falcon becomes an ex-Captain America. And I get it because Winter Soldier is Winter Soldier. But at the same time, I was like, if anybody was going to become, not even, I guess it makes sense if Falcon became the new Captain America.
I know where you're coming from. I felt like that too.
Yeah, but I was like, Bucky got ripped off. Like after all y'all been through.
Yeah, I know. But then it's like, okay, the thing is he has a bad reputation. He was the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's redemption too, which is in the series awesome to see that. But yeah, he couldn't have been it because then the people wouldn't have accepted him.
Yeah.
Well, people weren't accepting Falcon either, the TV show.
Yeah,
You know?
I know it. Well, especially because it feels new for me. Like I didn't have 10 years with Chris Evans as Captain America. I only had the past 6 months because I just got into all of it. So I'm like, wait a second, there's a new Captain America. And like, I already know when they start remaking these movies, because Hollywood will, I'm going to be pissed because I am not ready for somebody new to be Iron Man or Captain Marvel or, you know, what have you. I did love the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. I loved that. I got so into it. And it's so interesting because people who know me know that I live at Central Perk or Stars Hollow. If you put me into the Marvel universe, I am like on the edge of my seat. There's a lot of violence in there for me. I'm a baby. Anything involving a fight scene, I'm like, I will have nightmares of it. No doubt about it. Yeah. But I was so into it. And what's interesting is that it's like, those things gave me darker nightmares. And then I watched Fresh with Sebastian Stan. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it's on.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I can't believe I watched that movie. I literally, my roommate at the time and I was dry heaving in the bathroom. I was like, oh my God, like, no, I couldn't eat meat for like 2 weeks. It was so bad. But I watched the whole thing twice because I know, because I just couldn't, like, my mind couldn't wrap my head around this movie and how incredible these actors were. And then I made my mom watch it with me the second time because I wanted to see her reaction. And she kept covering her face and looking at me. She's like, this is sick, Brittany. This is sick. Like, but then she got so into it and she was like, what the hell did I just watch? But she was like, well, what? Like, she's getting super into it. But to go back to the Avengers, is there a certain Avenger you channel in your hard times, or is it always Captain America?
Yeah, it's Captain America. You know, like I know, I love when he fights himself.
Yes,
and I could do this all day. You know? It's like being in this business is like, you know, going to all these auditions and opportunities and not giving up, giving up. You know, I just say to myself, like, I could do this all day. What's the next one? What's the next opportunity? I didn't get that one. What's the next one? All right, I'll do this all day. I mean, I haven't stopped doing this yet, even though it's not always easy.
Right.
Like, don't give up attitude. Just keep going forward.
Yeah. And that's so important. It's just really so important. And I love that fight with himself is, you know, like your inner monologue a little bit. And I never looked at it that way. And I think that's why I love doing this show, is because I do see things in a completely different way. And it reminds you of how, you know, one thing is this for somebody and it's that for the other person, even though, you know, you and I could go to the same place and there could be something that occurs and we're still going to have two completely different stories that we tell. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that makes so much sense of like how somebody would relate to seeing this man fight himself and, you know, but keep going. You got to keep fighting that demon. You got to keep fighting that negativity and just be like, nope, it's not going to happen today. And like, keep going.
It's not necessarily good or bad. It's just what, you know, you believe in to be true to yourself. Just like those two Captain Americas, they were both fighting for what they thought was right or was true for them, what they believed.
Right.
You know, none of them were bad guys or good guys. They were just protecting, you know, at that time, the stone or whatever. They were, you know, they were trying to get through each other while trying to do the right thing.
Yeah. What do you think that is in you where you haven't given up on this? Like, well, one, you've also had incredible amounts of success in this career, but when you do get rejection or if you do have a lull, what do you think that is in you that keeps you going?
I think it's my young self, the kid inside of me going, you know, like, this is your dream, you know, you're not going to give this up now.
Right. You didn't come this far to come this far. Yeah.
And I always, you know, told myself that I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, no matter how hard it may become. And it has had its challenges, but you know, it's just, sometimes when I get like really, when it looks like it's not going to happen, something always pops up it's like I tell my wife something always comes. A friend of mine always says, Aris, when you're about to run out of money or something, you book something. It's just like something happens,
Mm-hmm.
It pops up. It pops up, like this was a rough year, and I just booked a commercial this week. So I was like, all right,
congratulations.
I'm going to end this year off all right. So let's look forward to next year,
Hell yeah. I love that. And also, it's kind of, quantity over quality or quality over quantity. Yeah, it's why can't I say this?
I got you.
It's quantity over quality. No, what? I can do it. It's quality. It's quality over quantity, where you have worked with really iconic people. One of them, you did Grace and Frankie, which.
Oh yeah,
how was that?
That was awesome. Lily Tomlin was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was me and this other guy. So it was funny. We were sitting down between takes, and she goes, "I want to take a picture with you guys because what are you guys? You guys might be famous one day." I was like, "Okay, what do you want to take a picture with me?"
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Took a picture together, and I got to talk to her, which is cool because where I live, there's a house on the next block. There's a big house, and my wife always told me, "Oh, Lily Tomlin used to live there." So I asked her, "Hey, did you live here?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, I used to live there." I was like, "All right, so not a lie." She goes, "Yeah, that was my house for a while." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. And also, my teacher when my teacher opened her studio, Lily Tomlin did a piece of her one-woman show there for the opening, and my teacher gave me a card to give her. So I gave her a card, and she's like,
I love that.
For her. Yeah. So it was, Lily was amazing. She was so nice. And and so was Martha Kaufman.
I know. I was going to ask you. I'm like, you got to work with the creator of Friends.
Oh my God. I got to say something about her because we had to, we split the scene I did, we did in 2 days. And it was like one day, and then a month later we had the other side of the scene to shoot. Mm-hmm. And they almost brought me back for something else because they told my agent, "Oh, they might bring you back for another scene or something," but that never happened. But when I shot the last day with them, she gave me this incredible hug because she was directing that episode.
Oh my God, Aris, I'm gonna pass out.
I'm so jealous. That episode. And when I left, she just gave me this big hug, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's so nice." I'm like, "This is so." She was a sweetheart. I hope I get to work with her again.
You will. I have no doubt about it. You will. I mean, it'll be just like Gilmore Girls, where she will remember you, and that is one thing. Like, I just really hope you know that because you are so special. Like there's not a single person that I talk to within our friend group. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're getting to talk to Aris." Like everybody is so excited and like jealous that I get to talk to you right now.
And I get invited to see people, but like I said, I'm not going out because I get,
no, it's hard, but I'm
so used to going to everybody's show and play.
You are. You're so supportive. You come to see me sing. I mean, you have literally. Like you are just this big ball of like, even just doing this episode with you right now, it is so just like, like I feel like I'm buzzing because you just have this energy that comes through the screen, which that's why you're an incredible actor and you've had a great career. And it's interesting because, this is my third interview in the past like 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to crank some out before the holidays so that I can like relax when I'm home and just edit and not have to, and it's just interesting because I noticed how much better it helps my brain. I feel productive. I feel like I'm of purpose or of service of people, of just like listening to somebody else's story and getting to talk with a friend. And I think we forget how important that human connection is and what it really does for our mental health. And so it's just like a gift that, you've given me this last hour of your time, even because it helps. And like what Gilmore Girls has done for me in terms of my mental health and you know, how there are times where I've been in a doctor's office or I've been in the hospital and I, you know, or I'm recovering. When I got my appendix out, all I did was watch Gilmore Girls. I could not live without watching Gilmore Girls. And so I love that you are a part of that out of all people, because you are such a kind, giving person and you deserve to be in the zeitgeist that you're in.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
but it's
welcome.
funny, a lot of fans, I hear that a lot. Like fans, like tell me, "Oh, I'm suffering from cancer, and watching Gilmore Girls, and it's just to be part of that. It's amazing."
Mm-hmm. And I imagine on like, you know, your hard days or your bad days, having that information has to make you go, "Okay, well, but at least I'm a small part in this." Like,
yes,
even on a small scale, when people reach out to me, or even you telling me you listen to my podcast, I'm like, well, then of course I have to keep doing it because Aris listens to my podcast. Like, and if one person is moved by something or inspired by something, then we're doing our job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why, like, whenever I meet fans, I make it a point to just, mm-hmm. give them time. I mean, right. I'm not a big superstar, so I do have more time to give fans and talk to them. And even at the fan fest, if I, some people come alone, and I'm like, oh, let's hang out. I met this fan. She came from Australia, and then I said, let's walk down the street to the next event. So we just walked together. We talked,
She probably, I mean, you and I did, I think it was on Ventura Boulevard. They did that Luke's Diner pop-up and you were like, yeah, let's go. And then literally, what is going on my street tonight? These sirens. You're in a bad neighborhood. No, I gotta move. We went to that Luke's Diner pop-up event and you were like, yeah, let's just go. And I'll tell them, I'm going to give out some coffee, and people lost their minds. But I had never felt cooler in my entire life because I got to like go in with you. And then like people were like taking videos and pictures. And I'm like, oh, people are so excited to see you, like handing out coffee cups with Luke's on it. And it was just so much fun. And I could only imagine like how you get to do those things all the time and how it's so nice to be able to meet people of all walks of life too, and how one show brings them together. And
it was cool to do that with you because that was like, I think that happened before the first fan fest mm-hmm. that I ever did. So I got a taste of it there. And it sucks that I had to leave and I couldn't stay there the whole time. I remember when we left, we saw that whole line outside. Yeah. And I was like, oh, but so that was a good taste of the what I would experience at the first fan fest. But the first fan fest was a lot of people.
Right.
It wasn't like the third one that I started really hanging out with fans. And now like every year.
I just saw that you are going to be on Scott Patterson's podcast doing a live show at Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I did his podcast already. But then they asked me to do a live one at the Warner Brothers lot with the Christmas decorations and everything. I'm like,
I want to cry because I'm like, why would they do it right before Christmas? Like,
no, it's like 2 days before. I was like, oh, that's close.
I know. I was like, damn it, because that would literally be, oh my God. I think I would, like I said, my head would explode. Being in those situations, like, look, I am the type of, it's that childlike thing that we hold on to. I'm never not going to be excited about the things I love. I'm not too cool for it. I do not care. Like, when I met Matthew Perry, I gave him a letter. I was like, I don't care. Like, and I'm like, I'm going to do it. And like, I'm always going to be excited about stuff like that. Like they say, don't meet your heroes, but I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of the people I look up to and love and have really great experiences. And I could imagine in that setting of you and Luke talking about Gilmore Girls, again, my head would explode. All of that to say. I feel like a Gilmore Girl right now because I'm talking so fast because I'm just so excited about everything we're talking about. What was doing the reunion like? Was it like riding a bike? Everybody just gelled back into it?
Well, yeah, it was cool because it was like going back to high school again. That analogy is always in my head. It's like going to high school or going back home. And back to the superhero thing, when I walked into my dressing room and I saw my apron laid out for me, it was like my superhero, uniform.
I love
was
that.
Oh, Caesar's back. Caesar's back.
Caesar's back. He's got his apron and he's ready to serve.
I was waiting for the theme song to come out, or something.
It's true.
I told Scott Patterson about that too, and he goes, "Yeah, you're right. Me too. I felt the same way." When he had to put his hat back on and his flannel shirt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so funny because I'm like, the older I get and the less I care about what I look like in public. I'm like, I stopped dressing like Lorelai and started dressing like Luke. Just my big baggy flannel and hat and the scowl on my face if nobody talked to me. So knowing that, like, I know Avengers and superhero movies are your go-to, and knowing that Gilmore Girls is such a comfort show for so many people globally, is there a certain TV show where, whether you were going through a hard time or just to have like that comfort energy in the house as you like do your day to day, is there a certain show that you always turn on?
Well, it's funny because I had heard your podcast, and I do go to sleep with friends on because I have direct TV. Every night I put Friends on Nick at Night, and I go to sleep with it because I like to have some noise because I'm from New York. I don't like the quiet. I don't trust the quiet. But it's cool because like I don't need to pay attention to it.
Right.
It's like it's there. And I mean, I watched Friends was my show in college with my friends. Every week we got together to watch Friends. Beginning of the theme song came out, we all went. We had to clap. We had to clap every week. Yeah, my friends in college, we watched it every week. So Friends was very special. So now I watch it. I put it on. I go to bed. It's in the background. I don't have to pay attention to it. Sometimes, I'll look at it and go, oh, this is that and this and that. Then I think about you all the time because it's like, she probably knows this episode. Like, what episode is this? Oh, I don't know. I got to ask Brittany.
Oh my God, this makes me so happy.
And then with DirecTV, I could rewind it because then around 6 o'clock, then SpongeBob SquarePants comes out. So I got to rewind it an hour and a half.
Oh my
gosh. We'll play again. If I get up in the middle of the night, I rewind it so I don't have to hear SpongeBob at 6 in the morning.
I love that. Is there like one Friends episode that reminds you of a specific time in your life?
Ooh, oh my goodness. Oh, I can't think of. There's so many episodes that I'm trying to. Oh man. There's Joey. Was it? He was trying to learn a language or something. He said
he's trying to learn French.
It's like, I mean, I'm not that. I speak Spanish, but my Spanish isn't perfect. So I just like people teaching a French, and he's like blah 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 blah. But yeah, I go out for like whenever I go out for like Spanish commercials, I'm like, damn it, I gotta train and put myself in the right state of mind to get a Spanish commercial and say it in Spanish. So it reminds me of that. Like that episode.
So funny.
And I'll call my uncle and I'll be like, how do you say this? Am I pronouncing it right? The Spanish word? And he's like, no, like this. I'm like, okay, got it. I think I got it. And then I'll get off the phone with him and then I'm saying it wrong again. So I call him back,
But you can understand it.
I understand Spanish. When I speak it, it's not perfect.
Right. So
it takes me a while to really try to get it down. And I mean, I still haven't booked a Spanish commercial or anything like that.
It's funny because on my calendar right now, it's Joey in a Superman costume, which like ties in your episode perfectly because I love it. It's like December on the calendar and it's Chandler as Santa and Joey in his Superman costume. I'm like, that's perfect timing. I also,
it's funny because like I think about Friends and now I thought about something else. It's like the relationship between Ross and Rachel and him being disappointed and being that guy that loved her and stuff like that. Like I felt like Ross in the past when I used to like somebody in my younger age, and it was kind of corresponding to the show too. So I was kind of like living that. Being liking a woman that didn't like me as much or like me the same, or it just wasn't working out at that moment.
Right.
So it's like, I kind of related to that, like Ross's struggle in his, liking a person and not being with that person.
Right.
Like he's crying when they did, they're looking out the window and the rain is coming down.
Yes.
What was it? You two, with or without you?
Yes. Every time I hear that song, oh my God, I'm so happy you know this. Every time I hear that song, I'm like thinking of it's the one with the list. That's the episode.
Yeah. So I could very much relate to that. Like that being that person who didn't get the love back that they were, just having a crush on somebody. And,
right.
That wasn't at that moment the right time to have that relationship.
Like two ships passing in the night, just like never lining up perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love that. I love that you love Friends too. And, when you it's like, I feel like a lot of people use Friends to comfort them as they fall asleep. And it's always like, I'll watch Gilmore Girls as I'm falling asleep. And when I know it's like time for me to really shut my eyes, then I switch over to Friends. And I'm like, I always think about it. I'm like, am I going to be like 75 years old doing this? Because I can't imagine my life not doing this.
I think you are. I think they might as well just make an All Friends channel. Why not?
I mean, I would say TBS is pretty much already an All Friends channel. It's like on from like the second I wake up until like 4:30, and I'm like, perfect. And then you just
I watch it on Nick.
Yeah, then you just switch over to Nick at night about 7:00, and then it's on till the middle of the night. Okay, well, my last question to you. This has been so fun, and we could probably talk I could talk to you about Gilmore Girls forever. So what is the best piece of advice that someone has given you either to maintain your mental health in this industry or in your acting career that you would pass on to somebody else that you think is important and useful in your everyday?
Well, this is one that's recent. Came from my class, my teacher. And it's turning anxiety into excitement, because anxiety and excitement are two different sides of the same coin. Is the same feeling you get for anxiety is the same feeling for excitement. Is the same feeling for anxiety. So instead of being anxious about something, get excited about it. Be like, well, it's a new adventure. Right. It's going to be something new to discover. Don't be scared of it. Accept it and go through it. And just be excited about it, because it's a much better feeling to have than being anxious, either before I jump into a action with somebody, jump into a scene with somebody, instead of being anxious about it, be excited about it, or being excited about an opportunity or an audition or anything really. Cause I think that really helps, because then you're not thinking about, you're not worried about it anymore. It's like going on the roller coasters and you're anxious to go it, but I love roller coasters, so I get excited, but I know some people are anxious and they don't want to be on a roller coaster. Right. So, but it's the same feeling. So it's just be excited about stuff. And I know being anxious affects a lot of people and it's really hard, but I just love that. I've been trying that a lot lately.
Would you say with mental health, is that something you deal with mostly, is anxiety?
No. I mean, I don't know if I have any mental health issues. Not that I know of. Maybe I buried them, or it's just so maybe because I just move on and go and try to be happy. I try to be happy all the time.
You are.
About things, and maybe who knows, maybe that's hiding certain things, who knows,
I don't know. I think you really are. I mean, I aspire to be like you, because you really are just, again, a happy, kind person. And my face hurts from, you can't see because it's behind the microphone. My face hurts from smiling so much for the past almost hour and a half. I'm like, you have this incredible ability to pass that energy on. And I love it. And I miss you. I miss you so much.
I have to realize that I have that energy, because I don't give myself that credit. It's like, the only time I am anxious is new things, like meeting new people. That's one thing. It's like, I'm shy. So I'm very scared of saying something, I'll give you another Gilmore Girls story. I was on set with Alexis, right? And she's shy too. So we're in between scenes and she's sitting, I don't know, she's sitting across from me, maybe 7 feet away. And she's reading a book and I'm there and I'm quiet. I don't say anything. We don't say a word to each other, not one word. And it's just like, because she's shy and I'm shy. So who's going to say anything? None we did it. I mean, I didn't really talk to her till the revival when I asked her to sign a shirt for a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And she was more than happy to do it for me, But I would like to be less shy around, like even on set. When I go on set, I don't talk to people that much. I don't want to bother them, or I don't talk enough. It's like I don't really build those relationships unless I'm with them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be like on a movie set. Like if I'm on a movie set, I'll be with someone for weeks or whatever. And then I'll build a relationship. But like Gilmore Girls is hard because I only popped in for a day or two. It wasn't until the fan fest that I got to meet.
Right.
Become closer.
Right. So you didn't talk to Alexis like when you were originally on the show? You didn't really talk?
No, I didn't talk to her because I just pop in. I'm really shy. So I'm like, I'm here to do my job. I'll do my job and I get out. Boom, wow. I'm in and out. And I know these people are working hard. They have so much to remember to say,
Yeah. But I understand being shy because I don't think I'm shy as I am timid of people. And like one of my best friends, Alex, when I worked at a salon, she was like, the first day I met you, I thought, this bitch, like she is not talking to anybody. And, women are different when someone's not talking to them. And she was like, and I just knew like, okay, I'm going to have to go up to her. She probably doesn't know anybody here and she just feels weird. Like I'm going to have to go up to her. She's my best friend. She can't get rid of me now. Like the second she came up to me, I was like, I'm Alex. If you need any help. And I was like, yeah, I need your help right now. And like, it was like the second she put out her hand, I was like, take me, help me. And we have become the best of friends. So I feel the same way in a sense of like, I don't open my mouth for everybody. But once I do, it's like good luck getting rid of me and getting me to shut up.
Yeah, once I get that trust inside or talk to someone or someone else would initiate the conversation, then it's like, just opens up. Mm-hmm. The conversation opens up after that.
Well, I challenge you to next time you're in a new environment and you don't know a lot of people, I challenge you to initiate the conversation and see what that does for you. I think you will find it's not as hard. I understand it, but I think if you were to initiate the conversation with somebody, something amazing might come out of it. Because again, if anybody's not nice to you, like they're the problem. Let's just get that out of the way.
And I've been trying here and there, like, okay, I'm going to initiate the conversation, but I haven't, had the opportunity to in a while. So maybe this week.
What's one thing that will always break you out of your shell?
Ooh, one thing though. I don't know.
Like, do you feel like if people ask you about Gilmore Girls, like, it's like, oh, okay, I can do this. I've been doing this. But if you're in a group, like a social setting.
When somebody needs help and I could be of help in a way, like if they ask me for like a question or something advice or like help with something, is like, that's when I'm like, oh, that's just my niceness coming out. Oh, I'll help you with this. Oh yeah, sure. I'll help you with something. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Yeah. Like helping people with it. If they ask me, I'll help them out. And that gets me, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because I'm like, my spidey sense goes off. Like the second I hear somebody in public talking about Friends or Britney Spears, I'm like, huh? And then I'm like immediately involved in the conversation.
I guess it would be baseball then, because I like baseball. Or the New York Mets. Like somebody's talking about the Mets and they'd be like, oh yeah, you're a Mets fan? Because being a Mets fan is not easy. It's a lot of suffering. So that, if I see somebody's a Mets fan, like I see somebody with a hat on the street, be like, hey, Mets, baby, Yeah. I know, we're suffering. So it's like, it's a common, we suffer together. If you're a Mets fan, you know what disappointment is.
Oh my gosh. Well, to bring it back to Friends, of course, whenever I hear the Mets, I just think of Joey again, because when he's like going on a date and Aisha Tyler, is it Aisha Tyler or Aisha Taylor? Tyler? She wants to go to the Met and he's like, no, it's the Mets. Like,
oh God, isn't there free on stuff like that? Oh my God.
It's so good. And that's all I think about every time somebody talks about the Mets. Or there's another episode where they're like, the Mets rule. And he just goes, yeah, the Mets rule. So every time I see somebody with like a Mets hat or mention them in my head, I just hear, yeah, the Mets rule. And I don't think I've ever watched a Mets baseball game in my entire life. But I feel like, I know a lot about them because of Friends. Okay, so you have given the piece of advice that was most helpful for you. What is the best piece of advice you would give to somebody?
Oh man. I mean, I like I said, I always try to be happy, but I always say everything happens for a reason, but I also learned that everything happens for a reason, but you can make the meaning for that reason. So it doesn't have to be a bad reason. You could always switch it to make it benefit you, that reason.
Right.
There's no rules to it. Yeah, everything happens for a reason, even if it's bad, but you can make it positive.
Yeah.
So I just try to be positive a lot. I always tell people, it's going to pass, these bad feelings or anything. And there's always like, you can only go up from here,
Right. It's so true. It's so
I just
true.
I try to be positive because it just being negative is it could be dangerous. It could be such a hole.
It's hard to get out of it once you're in it.
I just try not to get to the dark side. I mean, like, it's funny because as a kid, you say I'm nice and everything, but as a kid, I was a little rough and tough a little bit as a kid sometimes. But I feel like whatever bad things I did as a kid, I believe in karma. So karma has paid me back for anything bad I did. So that's why, like, in the mature age or like after being a kid, I try to be good because I don't want bad things to happen anymore. I've done bad shit, and it's like, oh, excuse me, I said that's what I.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
No, it's like I just try to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. If you could tell your younger self, that inner child that you still have with you, if you could tell them one thing, what would it be?
Oh, it would be that. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen. You're going to act. You're going to act. You're going to be on TV. You are going to be on TV and movies. And, just keep working hard. Just go forward. Because, I mean, I got to do a lot of things I wanted to do as a kid. I got to, be in a dance movie. The only thing I haven't been in a sports movie or something like that yet. But a lot of my things that I wanted as a kid have come true. So that's cool. I got to be in billboards and magazines and stuff like that. So it's cool.
Well, let's manifest that. I will be manifesting that for you, that you are going to be in a sports movie. And you just have to sneak in the line. Yeah, the Mets rule. Oh my gosh. Well, Aris, this has been so fun. Like I said, my cheeks literally hurt because my face isn't used to smiling this much. And I'm so happy that you took the time for this. Thank you for answering Gilmore Girls questions. Thank you for entertaining me and my fangirl. And just congratulations on everything. I'm really, will they be streaming the live episode you're doing, or is it just going to be for that?
I think the day after you could stream it.
Amazing.
It's moment.com. That's the name of the website is Moment. They're going to do a virtual stream at 5 p.m. the next day. It's like $22. It's moment.com/I'm all in. I am all in.
Okay, amazing. I will repost that on my Instagram tonight because by the time this episode comes out, you would have probably already done this. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I just wish I could give you the biggest hug in the whole world. And I can't wait till we can see each other again. And you have to promise me when you're on the Warner Brothers lot, you take a picture on the couch, at the fountain, wherever it may be for friends.
For friends.
Like just wander off, go to Central Perk and take a picture for me, just so
Where's Central Perk? Is that in the museum, the Central Perk set? Where is it?
They have the set, but they also have like an actual coffee shop on the lot, and it is Central Perk, and you can go in and get a coffee.
Is that at the commissary or is just separate? It's a separate
from
shop.
The commissary. It's a separate shop. It's like where the gift shop is almost.
Okay, yeah. I know where the gift shop is. Okay, yeah. I haven't been to the gift shop in a while. Last time I did Mom, 3 years ago or something. I was on the set last. I'm very excited to be back on Warner. I love Warner Brothers. Every time I audition, walk around, I always go to Luke to take a picture.
I love that. And yeah, they have the fountain out now, like from the credits where they're all in the fountain. They have that out with the couch in front of it for like photo ops. I mean,
Oh, I'll find out. I guess I'll find out.
Find out. Yeah, you'll be there.
I'll be there doing the tour. I could always ask, hey, I want to see this or whatever.
Yeah. I'm so, oh gosh. I'm like, do I change my travel plans? Do I come home? Because God, this would just be so much fun.
It's cool too, because I already have some fans that already told me, oh, I'm going to be there. I'm like, oh, cool.
That's so exciting. Well, again, thank you so much. And I'm just...
Can I tell you one more story that it's funny?
Yes, please.
When I did Mom on the Warner Brothers lot, after the last day of shooting, we finished, we shot the episode and everything. And so I'm talking to Anna Faris, and we're just talking, and these two girls come out of nowhere, and they're Gilmore Girl fans. Mm-hmm. That I've met at the Fan Fest before. They live in LA and everything. And so they come up to us and they tell Anna, do you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh my God.
Anna was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take a picture of you guys.
That is so funny, Aris.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, I love you girls. Next time I saw that, I was like, yeah, I told you. Like,
you're like, I'll pay you guys later.
I didn't even know they were there. I didn't know they were there.
So funny.
Yeah.
Well,
thing to jump on stage to talk to us.
That is so funny. And to bring it back to Marvel, I did that. I made Andrew Garfield take a picture of me and Emma Stone together. And I didn't even we were at, do you remember Samuel French, the book shop? So I was there picking out a play for class, and Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield walked in. Well, I mean, I only knew Andrew Garfield from the Facebook movie, The Social Network, at the time. Okay. And like, it was when they were filming Spider-Man. So I didn't even, and even now, you don't know how big somebody's going to get, but Emma Stone was like, she's always been up top for me. Like, I just absolutely love her. And so I was like in there picking out a play for my acting class. One of my idols is next to me. So I asked her, like, like, what is your advice for people and just going on? And she couldn't have been nicer. And then I hand my phone to Andrew Garfield and I'm like, do you mind taking a picture of us? And then the look on his face, he kind of just like smirked a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Do you want to be in it? And
no, you didn't. Oh my God, that's great.
And he goes, oh no, this is your guys' moment. It's totally fine. And I was like, okay. And then took the picture, but it's just so funny every time I see that picture. I'm like, that's so weird. Andrew Garfield took a picture of me and Emma Stone, and I couldn't have cared less about him in that moment. And now I'm like, damn, I should have gotten him in the picture.
You knew who he was.
I knew who he was, but I was like, eh.
Your interest was with her.
Yeah, okay. My interest was all in Emma Stone, but it's just so funny. And Anna Faris was also on Friends. I always forget because I don't really watch season 10 because I know that it's ending. So she's on season 10. So I steer away from those episodes unless it's on TV. I don't choose to watch the ending. And I'm the same with Gilmore Girls. I have 2 episodes left to finish the whole series again. I won't do it. I started it again instead of finishing the last 2 episodes.
Does that include the Year in the Life or just the original? No,
just the original. But I kind of fell behind because I usually like to watch A Year in the Life and have, that last episode with Logan's whole, I think it's fall, winter, spring, summer, fall. That's the last one. I like having that line up with Christmas time. So maybe I'll watch it. And then the week of Christmas, I'll have it to watch.
Cool. Thank you for having me as one of your first, guests.
Absolutely. You are one of the people I was like, would Aris do this? And then when I reached out, you were like, yeah, of course, I'd be interested. And I was just so excited because, like I said, I forget that because I see you separately than Caesar.
Oh, okay.
And so I forget that and you and I, you obviously know I love the show, but we've never talked in depth about it. And you've never really seen this crazy side of me come out of just being so excited about Gilmore Girls.
You remember the first time we met?
Remind me.
You came to audition and you were looking at me. I'm like, you were looking at me all weird. I'm like, and then you came up and later on you're like, you are on Gilmore Girls, right? You're Caesar. But you were staring at because I was outside for the auditions. He came in for an audition, and I'm like coordinating the people outside.
Yes.
God.
Well, Milo actually got me into that whole. Like I went to a Q&A and I was like, what do I do? Like I've been out of the acting game for a while. What do I do? And Milo was like, join a class, join a company. And then later, like I think a few months after, I saw him at a play and he was like, oh, you did it. You're here. And I was like, yeah. So it was really cool. I'm like, oh, the Gilmore. And I guess that should make me Team Jess also, but I can't. I'm Team Logan. I'm Team Logan all the way. Also, I mean, it's like, is Matt Zuckery, does he do a lot of stuff with Gilmore Girls still or no? I feel like he's like so private in his life.
Nah, I've never met him. I
really? Even in the revival?
Yeah, I didn't meet him, no.
Wow.
Like, even at the party, like the after party, I wasn't like, talking to that many people. Like I was talking, who I ended up talking with? At the time, Laura Graham was dating
Peter Krause.
Yeah, we ended up talking. And I know they were dating and we were talking because I love 6 Feet Under. We were talking about that and he was a really nice guy. And then I found out afterwards that they were dating.
Yeah, I loved him. Well, once I got done with the first time I got done watching Gilmore Girls, I was so obsessed with Lauren Graham. I had to watch everything she'd ever been in. This is my theme. Like I find one thing I like about an actor and then I just go through their entire catalog. And so I started Parenthood and they played brother and sister on Parenthood.
I didn't watch Parenthood, unfortunately.
Oh, it's good. It's heavy. It's not like, one of those, it's a feel good show, but it's also like you're going to cry. Like you're going to feel your emotions watching that show. That's why the Gilmore Girls is just the perfect balance because you have that emotional aspect to it, but then you have the quirkiness of like it's based in reality in a fake town, which is like, it's just perfect. It's perfect.
And every year with the Fan Fest Society, we recreate this town or the community. It's really amazing. It's really amazing. The people I've met through Gilmore Girls that are just friends.
Yeah. Would you say you would love to be on another sitcom or would you like to do another episodic?
I would love to do a sitcom. I love sitcom. I mean, whenever I work on a sitcom, it's so great. The hours are amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I love the mixture of the live audience too, Mm-hmm. And it works so fast and just if I could pick, I would pick a sitcom.
Yeah,
definitely work on. Even a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind doing a kids show. And then all of a sudden, I did 2 kids shows or something, mm-hmm. Kid movies. And those are good too because the kids get off early, so it's even earlier than a regular sitcom. Because it was like I did a Nick show. I was like, oh, this is awesome, man!
Right.
And it's good goodies there too. They have like a soda machine and all these great goodies. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah. Again, just this big kid, just a happy big kid. Yeah. Well, I adore you and never let go of that inner child because it's the best and. You're the best. So thank you so much.
I wish you great. I mean, you're doing a great job with your podcast already. So I can't wait to listen to more.
Thank you.
You're welcome.